It's like deja vu all over again. Yet another fresh name in the Aussie new car market. This time in the form of a sub-brand from a car maker that itself feels like it's been around for 5 minutes, but in fact has been in market here for a decade or more. This is the MG IM5 Performance, the IM brand standing alone in other markets, there as here, signifying a new level of equipment, performance and quality. And we've been steering this top spec, dual motor, all-wheel drive version of the pure electric 5-door liftback, priced and specified to challenge the rapidly expanding group of high-performance EV sedans already in local showrooms.
The most prominent is arguably the Tesla Model 3 dual-motor all-wheel drive, with others including the BYD Seal Performance all-wheel drive, Hyundai's Ioniq 6 all-wheel drive Epic, and the Polestar 2 long-range dual-motor Performance.
So stay with us to see if this premium performer has what it takes to tempt you into a new option from the latest challenger brand to jump into the ever-intensifying, no-holds-barred contest for your new car dollars. At $80,990 drive away, the IM5 Performance sits at the top of a 3-model lineup that starts with the 75 kilowatt-hour Premium at around $61,000, then moves to the mid-spec 100 kilowatt-hour Platinum at just under $70,000. The Performance model's price is in the same ballpark as the equivalent Tesla 3 and Polestar 2. It's about 10k more than the flagship BYD Seal and 5 to 6k less than the relevant Hyundai Ioniq 6. It's also worth noting the IM6, which is essentially this car with a high-riding SUV body on top of it, has the same lineup with identical pricing.
Once you've crossed the 80k threshold, it's fair to expect a decent basket of standard fruit, and aside from the dynamic and safety features we'll get to shortly, the IM5 Performance comes to the party with highlights including a double-glazed panoramic roof, power-adjustable heated and ventilated front seats, also heated in the rear, dual-zone climate control, 20-speaker audio, 256 colour ambient lighting, a power tailgate and 20-inch alloy rims. There's heaps more, so check out carsguide.com.au for all the details. But this car at least matches or betters its direct competitors for included equipment.
Playing spot the straight line on the outside of the IM5 is like the automotive design equivalent of Where's Wally? There aren't many in this unrelentingly curvaceous exterior treatment. At close to 5 metres long and 2 metres wide, the IM5 is appreciably longer, wider and a bit taller than a Tesla Model 3. Think BMW 5 Series in terms of overall size. And the soft form shape is functional, the swoopy liftback recording an ultra sleek drag coefficient of just 0.24.
That said, I'm not convinced by the periscopic cameras informing the driver assistance systems from the front guards. They scream tacked on afterthought. But the touch-only initial opening function for the doors is cool and makes life easier.
The curves continue inside with these soft padded areas on the console, dash and on the doors. But the straight edge obviously came out for this 10.5-inch central multimedia display and this enormous squared off panel on the top of the dash, the left-hand side of which is touch sensitive. It's pretty much a button-free environment. These controls on the steering wheel can be adjusted to configure everything from the exterior mirrors to more conventional stuff like, the volume on the audio. That said, the software in the system is lightning fast, 2-finger control for temperature and fan speed at the touch of 2 fingers.
The interior is light and bright thanks to an enormous panoramic sunroof. It's been fine in cooler winter conditions, but it could be interesting to revisit in the heat of an Aussie summer. There are 2 interior colour schemes available, the Highland Grey of our test car or Dover Beige for those brave enough to live life with the threat of scuff marks on your shiny new car's interior.
If this was an internal combustion car, I'd be cracking open the bonnet and showing you the engine, but there's nothing to see here. The IM5 Performance features an electric motor on each axle, the one at the rear more powerful than the one at the front, for an overall output of around 570 kilowatts. That's 770 horsepower and around 800 newton meters of torque. The official term for that much grunt is a lot, and we'll get to what that means when we're behind the wheel shortly. From a practicality point of view, there's no conventional glove box. However, there is a large bin between the seats, padded on the top to double as an armrest, and it can be cooled if you want it that way. There's also an enormous area under this kind of flying buttress console piece, so you've got extra space down there. In the doors there are bins, but they're a little bit narrow. You'd struggle to fit a bottle of this size even laying down, maybe smaller ones if you try. That said, there are 2 cup holders in the center console, as well as an oddments tray and a wireless device charging pad to its left.
The IM range also features the MG iSmart app, allowing remote control of various functions including charging, checking vehicle location and route planning.
In the back, I'm sitting behind the driver's seat set for my 183 centimetre position, and I've got tons of knee room, more than enough headroom actually, but my toes under the seat, it's a struggle, which means my legs are way up above the cushion of the seat, which isn't ideal. If the seat was much further forward, maybe I could get a different angle. Then in terms of storage, again, the bins in the doors are quite narrow. However, there is a pair of cup holders in this fold down center armrest, and a slot that's just right for phones or other similarly sized devices. There's map pockets in the back of the front seats. You can also recline this seat just a little bit if you want to get a slightly more comfortable angle. And this car features what is referred to as strong magnets. There are various points around the car where you can stick that device and then put yours on top of it. There's also individual ventilation for the rear section and a USB-C port to keep devices powered up.
The IM5 is a liftback, so the boot aperture is generous, and a capacity over 450 litres with the rear seats up is decent for a car of this size. Although it must be said that's less than the Tesla Model 3, which has an additional well under the floor. Still enough room for the largest and smallest suitcases from the CarsGuide 3-piece luggage set, with some room to spare. The power tailgate can be operated hands-free via the key or an always welcome under-bumper kick function. Volume expands to 1,290 litres with the rear seats folded, and there's a modest 18-litre frunk under the bonnet. The bad news is a repair inflator kit rather than a physical spare wheel, but the better news is the IM5 Performance can tow a 1,500 kilogram braked trailer.
If you find yourself a little bit further out from the curb than you'd like to be, and you need some support jockeying in the car, just press this curbside button. We'll then ask you which side you'd like help on. This side, the passenger side, press start, and here we are. The car reads the distance across to the curb. We're between 2 parked cars here. It starts to just do its thing. Completely hands off, my feet are off the pedals as well. I mean, this feature's been around for a little while, but it's actually the 12 degrees of rear steering, the articulation of the rear wheels, that allows it to do this with relative ease.
The IMG IM5 Performance features an 800-volt electrical architecture, which means the 100 kilowatt-hour NCM battery can accept a DC peak charge of close to 400 kilowatts. Only snag is the highest you'll currently find in Australia is 350 kilowatts. But even at that rate, you'll still be looking at a 30 to 80% charge in just over 15 minutes. Maximum AC charge rate is 11 kilowatts. Claimed range is 575 kilometres WLTP, which is less than the Tesla Model 3 dual-motor all-wheel drive at 629 kilometres. Over a week of city, suburban and some freeway running, we saw average energy use of 20.6 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometres, which is on the high side for an EV of this size, but maybe not for one with this kind of performance potential. A full suite of active safety tech is on board, including AEB, lane departure warning, blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert and heaps more. and we'll get to how it all operates in a minute. If a crash is unavoidable, there are 7 airbags, including full-length side curtains and a front centre bag. Multi-collision brake also minimises the chances of subsequent impacts after an initial crash. For all the details, go to our written review on the CarsGuide site.
So thanks to the larger 100 kilowatt hour battery, the standard rear wheel drive has a 75 kilowatt hour, and the twin motors, this car weighs in at 2.3 tonnes. But it is supercar fast, 800 Newton meters of torque, and it's claimed to go from 0 to 100 km/h in 3.2 seconds. So it is, whoa, really fast. So this car rides on an all-new platform. It's not on any existing MG underpinnings. Suspension is by double wishbones at the front and multi-links at the rear. It actually has air suspension and adaptive damping, and the ride is really good. It is really comfortable. Speaking of which, these front seats are not only comfortable but supportive at the same time. So in terms of just soaking up even little bumps and imperfections up to bigger bumps and thumps, does well. The IM5 is also super refined. You've got double glazing in this enormous panoramic roof, as well as the side window glass and some active acoustic noise cancelling. And they combine to just make this a serene environment. You get that characteristic little whine from the electric motors, but the Pirelli P0 tyres are pretty quiet. It's just a really relaxed kind of cabin environment. So the car steers really nicely. It points accurately, not the last word in road feel, but you've got that rear steering up to 12 degrees of rear steering angle for low speed manoeuvring, less so at speed. But what it delivers when you are going through the corners is that extra bit of stability. And the tyres, Pirelli P0, 245 width up the front, 275 at the rear. They're pretty serious, as they should be, on a car with this much performance potential, and they grip hard. The rear view mirror and what appears to be an oval-shaped rear window from the driver's perspective anyway, kind of reminiscent of a 1950s VW Beetle. It really is a tiny window aperture at the back. If you're stuck though, just a spin of one of the wheels on the dial brings up a rear view on the screen. So there's that in support. Given the velocity this car can achieve, you'd want the brakes to be professional grade, and they are. Ventilated rotors all around and chunky 4-piston calipers up front. The pedal feel is good, and the system manages to wash off speed effectively time after time, so no complaints in the braking department.
Interestingly, a rainy night mode projects left and right rear views onto the main screen using AI to enhance clarity and highlight pedestrians and cars.
Most of the active safety driver assistance systems are relatively unobtrusive. Lane keeping once in a blue moon made its presence felt, but pretty subtle in the main. Having said that, the overspeed warning is overzealous, misfiring on school zones on a Sunday, that kind of thing, and not giving you much leeway. So we found ourselves turning that off a couple of screens, and you can turn it off. Also, the driver distraction warning gave me a slap on the wrist a couple of times when I was looking straight up the road. It again was at you pretty constantly, and found ourselves turning that off as well, which kind of defeats the purpose. But other than that, no problems with the ADAS tech.
We also found the adaptive cruise control to be hesitant in multi-lane environments, reducing speed occasionally because the system seemingly believed a car was set to merge, when it wasn't. The MG IM5 performance is covered by a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is a plus, but it's conditional on authorised dealer servicing. Go elsewhere and the term drops to a more common 5 years unlimited kilometres. The dry battery is covered for an industry standard 8 years, 160,000 kilometres. Servicing is required every 12 months or 20,000 Ks, with charges averaging $586 per workshop visit for the first 5 years, which is on the high side for an EV even at this price point. The average bumped up by a more than $1,400 doozy at year 4.
The MG IM5 performance is fast, as in properly fast, comfortable and ultra refined. Putting some minor spec and active safety niggles to one side, it has the features, tech and price to rival its already popular and well-credentialed EV sedan competitors. Is there room for one more? We think there should be. Gan yanda.